So if you're like me and you've seen running watches out in the wild, you've probably looked at them and thought, oh, those look pretty cool. But do you really need one? That's the question I'm going to be answering in this video. Long story short, you don't really need one, but is it a nice tool to have for training? Yes. In this video, I'm going to be explaining why, along with giving options for running watches if you are looking for a more budget-friendly option. Let's dive into the video. So first off, what exactly are running watches? Running watches are watches that allow you to track things like distance and your route that you went, heart rate, and some even do more advanced features like cadence and other more advanced running dynamic features. Those are mostly on the higher end watches, but some of the lower end watches do offer those too. And the goal of running watches is really allow you to take control of your training and really see where you can be improving your times and stuff like that, how you've been improving, and really just using it for training to really nail down those times and make sure that you are doing intervals at the right pace. So why might you need a running watch? Running watches, as I said earlier, they really allow you to take control of your training, and something that's really big in cross country, especially cross country and track, is using your times to really measure your interval times and stuff like that, and it allows you to see more precise data than with just a timer and having someone time you, because with someone who's just straight up timing you, you won't be able to see the curves in your pace. You'll kind of just see a straight up, you'll just see the time that you got on each interval. You won't exactly see where you were pushing harder, where you were going easier, and more interesting stats like that. And having those stats really help you see how you should be pacing your intervals, whether you're pacing them right, whether you should be doing more intervals, whether you should be doing less intervals, and all that fun stuff. So that's really where running watches are used in high school training, such as cross country or track. So yeah. If you're enjoying this video, please hit that like, subscribe button. It really helps support the channel. And with that, let's get on with the video. Something that I found really cool about running watches is that when you are running in a race and you do have your watch on, you can actually go back on an app such as Strava or the native app that comes with the watch that you purchase. You can actually see more interesting stats, and you can actually go in and see where were you going the slowest, where were you going the hardest, whether you were at your max by looking at your heart rate, and interesting stats like that, whether you need to be increasing your cadence, and whether you had more to give in that race, or whether if you had paced it differently, you could have improved. So that's one of the cool things that I've found about running watches that's really helpful, especially in my training. So some people might not necessarily be willing to spend the extra money for a running watch, nor do they feel they really need a running watch. And that can be valid for many runners, and running watches are not essential. They're just a really nice tool to have. And an alternative to a running watch is using apps like Strava to track your run. That'll really show you the varying pace. That'll give you precise pacing, but it won't give you more advanced stats such as cadence, heart rate, and more running dynamic stuff, as I said earlier, that come on most of the watches these days. However, if you're just looking for something to really track your pace and your time and your distance, using an app like that is a great way to get started, and a great way to keep tracking that to make sure that you are running the right amount of distance so that you can prevent things like injuries from overuse or overtraining. One downside to running with a watch is that it can become a habit where you're just constantly looking at your watch, checking your pace, and that can sometimes be demoralizing. If you feel like you're going fast, but you look at your watch and you're actually running slow relative to how you normally run. So that's one downside to running with a running watch, as opposed to just running by feel and really just going by how your body feels and how you feel you should be running. Okay, so now I'm going to be discussing the range of running watches. Running watches can vary from anywhere from around $50 all the way to around $1,000, depending on how much money you want to invest into your running watch. And one of the things to note is that as you sort of go up in the price point, the weight of a watch actually goes up. That's something that I've found. So if you don't want a really big and bulky watch, I recommend looking closer towards the budget end of things. So starting out, you can get a really nice watch that is brand new for around $75, and that's like the watches like the Garmin Forerunner 35. And the reason why that they are much cheaper than the others is because they are a bit outdated now, but they still are sold by Garmin. You still can get them new, and they're still great watches. They offer things like heart rate, cadence, pace, distance, GPS, and everything that you would need in a basic running watch. If you're looking to spend more money or get more features in your watch, I'd recommend looking closer towards the $200 price point. And and that I have felt is the sort of the sweet spot for running watches. That's where you can really get a lot of value for the amount you pay. So I'd say that the best watch is the Coros Pace 2 at the $200 price point. That's just because it packs a boatload of features into just a $200 really lightweight watch, and that's actually my watch of choice. So you can see that is the watch being shown up on the screen right now, and it's a solid watch. It offers things from triathlon mode all the way to hiking, skiing, and interesting modes like that. And those are modes and features that you would only get on a $500 watch if you were to look into watches like Garmin's or Wahoo's and other GPS devices like that. The next one that I would like to mention is a Garmin Forerunner 55, and like the Coros Pace 2, it packs a lot of features into a solid price point. However, there aren't quite as many features, but you do get a much larger ecosystem, and that is the Garmin ecosystem, and they're currently the largest ecosystem in GPS smartwatches, and it'll give you a few more smart features than the Coros Pace 2, whereas the Coros Pace 2 is more focused on the actual running features. The Garmin Forerunner 55 will give you more lifestyle features, so if you want to just wear this watch around and still have nice features that typical smartwatches have, I would recommend looking towards the Garmin Forerunner 55. Now, if you're looking for the most aesthetic watch, I'd go with Polar Pacer. And the Polar Pacer really has a nice liquid, bright screen. And that's one of the things about Polar that really sets them aside, is that their screens are much higher quality than Garmin's or Coros or Wahoo's. Most of them have, like, you can almost see the pixels in the screen if you actually look at them. Whereas with Polar, it just looks nice and sleek like a typical iPhone. Now really, the best value isn't in the brand new watches, it's actually in the used watches. And you can actually get tons of used watches for great prices on sites like eBay, Craigslist, or actually certified refurbished devices by certain companies. And also, companies do offer some sort of factory outlet section, and that's something that you can see on the Polar website. They offer their watches for pretty much half off, and they're pretty much brand new watches, and they all work perfectly well. So in the end, are running watches necessary? They aren't necessary, but they do add a whole nother dimension to your training, and they really allowed you to step up your training, and especially if you're trying to be a more serious runner, I'd highly recommend investing in a running watch, because that'll really allow you to up your training and see more precise data than you've ever seen before from a phone or just a friend's data. So running watches, not necessary, but definitely a really fun and unique tool to have with you, and it's just overall a helpful training tool. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like, subscribe button, and let me know in the comments section below, do you think a running watch is necessary? And yeah, stay tuned for the next one.